All right, so today we are going into a new topic, but it's kind of an extension from our previous topic about volume. So today, instead of finding how much the item or the prism or cylinder, whichever geometric shape we choose, instead of finding out how much it holds, okay, how much it holds, what we're now going to do is see, instead of how much it holds, right? We're going to now see, okay, well, I want to go all the way around it, all the way around it. I want to find out the area of the surface, and that's what we call surface area. The surface area is the total covering on the surfaces of a three-dimensional object. All right. Now, it will always be measured in what we say units, because it's units of measure. So units squared. So the difference between when we did volume versus surface area, volume was measured in units cubed because it was 3D. But when we do surface area, it's units squared because it's now 2D. I want you to like keep those together. So we can think of some examples. So I encourage you to pause the video and think of some examples that you'd need for surface area, right? So some examples that I've come up with are wrapping something like a gift, okay? Or painting the exterior of a 3D figure, right? So there's some examples that I thought of, okay? Now, today we're going to focus more on the surface area of a rectangular prism. So rectangular prisms are made up of the following faces, okay? It's not on it. So bases, your bases, the two rectangular, and they're parallel and congruent. So remember, we said from previous lessons, we know that parallel means they'll never touch, they'll never cross, yes? And we know that congruent means same shape, same size. They're equal to one another. Okay. So that's the bases. There are two rectangular. Now we have lateral faces. Lateral faces are, what these are is there are four rectangular faces connecting the bases. Okay. So last but not least, we have the height of the rectangular prism, and we reference this as H, just like we've done previously. And it's the distance between the two bases. Remember, we say our height is from base to base, okay? So if we see this 3D figure, I'll bring this up. Okay, here's my 3D figure, right? I can say, here's all of the lateral faces all the way around this washing machine, right? And then I can say the bases are the top and the bottom of this washing machine, right? Now, to show you a little bit better, if I take it out, that's a 3D figure, yes? But if I take it out, I now have a 2D figure. So I have four rectangular faces These are my lateral faces. And then I have two bases. So this is now a 2D figure once I unfold it and I have just the surface. Okay. All right. So let's give some more help for this as well. Okay. So let's shade the bases of each rectangular prism below. Then we're going to label the height and the height of the prism. Okay. So you want to take a highlighter. It doesn't matter what color you use. Okay. So let's first, we're going to shade the bases. Okay. So remember, your base is going to be the top and the bottom, right? Top and the bottom. So here I'm going to highlight this as my base and down here as my base. Okay. And height is base to base. So I can label height here from base to base. Right. Let's look at the next one. Okay. So I'm going to do the sides here because I'm going to say if I turn this to the side, okay, this is still my base to base. And base to base will be your height. Okay. So I want you to try the next two on your own and see what you think. So pause the video. All right, so I did this as my bases, and from base to base, this is my height. Base to base, this is my height. All right. So let's break it down a little bit more so we can have our formulas. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to break it down in pieces here. Okay, so we have lateral. So in some cases, they're going to ask us for the lateral surface area, and in others, they would ask us for the total. The formula for a lateral surface area is P, capital P, H. The P stands for your perimeter of the base. Just like when we had big B, remember that was the area of the base? Well, capital P or big P is perimeter of the base. And of course, H, as we stated before, is the height of the prism. Okay, so formula in your own words. So take a moment, put the formula into your own words, and then you can compare to mine. All right, so in my words, from looking at the formula, we know when the two variables side by side, this is multiplication. And by explaining what these were, I was able to formulate in my own words that this lateral formula is what we're doing is we find the perimeter of the base, which is by adding the four sides of the base. So remember, you add all four sides. And then we're going to multiply the perimeter by the height of the prism. Okay, so this is just in words of the actual formula that we have. So again, this is for lateral. Now let's discuss total. So total, all right, we already know that P is the perimeter of the base. Okay, and we know that H is our height. of the prism. And we know that big B from when we did formula stands for area of the base, okay? We should have that like ingrained by now, okay? Area of the base. Okay, and in this case, the base is a square, okay? And in some cases could be a rectangle. So we will make sure that we identify that. So from what we have here, since we have the perimeter times the height plus, since there's two bases, top and bottom, we're gonna add that to 2 times your area of the base. So put that into your own words and then momentarily check in with mine. I'll let you pause the video. All right, so I wrote find the perimeter of the base and multiply it by the height of the prism. Then find the area of the base, which is base times height, little b is base times height, and multiply it by 2, add it together. So describe what makes the formula of total surface area different from the formula of lateral surface area. Well, if you notice that we can look right off the bat, okay, lateral is just talking about going all around, right? So if I do this, right, here's my example from earlier, yes? All right, lateral is if I fold in my bases. Now look, I have just the lateral, just going around, right? I have the front of the machine, the back of the machine, and the 2 sides, right? This is lateral. Now, if I want total, then I have to add my 2 bases. Okay, so this would be total, everything together, and without the bases, all right, this is considered lateral. So put that into your own words, and we will move on to an example. All right. So let's look here on the back at number 1. Okay, so let's just simply identify what we got going on. All right, so Josie is going to find the lateral surface area of the prism shown, okay? So we're gonna be looking for lateral surface area. So when you're going through these problems, I really want you to make sure that you circle and or highlight what it's asking to make sure that you're only looking for lateral or you're looking for total, okay? So it wants to know what the formula should be, what that she should use. Well, if we're talking about lateral, the formula I'm going to use is P times H, right? P times H, right? And my parameter, okay, it would be of the base, yes, right? So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to redraw it for you. So here's my base, right? I have 5 centimeters here, 5 centimeters here, 5 centimeters here, and 5 centimeters here. This is my base, okay? And we know with perimeter, we add up all the sides. So I'm doing 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. So my value for the perimeter is 20, okay? And height is from base to base. So from base to base, so I'm going to label this as my height. So my height in this case is 8. Okay. Now we have the formula. We have what we need to plug in. So let's plug it into the formula. So my perimeter is 20. And I'm going to multiply that by my height, which is 8. 20 times 8 is 160. And it's in units of measurement of centimeters. And because it is a 2D figure, we put a 2 per square. Okay. All right. You may pause the video to ask any potential questions. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. And now let's talk about Drew. Drew is going to find the total surface area of the prism. Okay, the total. So remember the total, the formula for total is P times H, okay, plus 2 big B, right? Perimeter times height plus 2 times the area of the base, okay? So what is the perimeter, okay? So we need to identify our bases. So here's my base, here's my other base, okay? And I'm gonna redraw it out here so we can see that, okay? So I have 11 inches here, 11 inches here, 4 inches here, and 4 inches here, okay? And this is my base. So perimeter is simply going to be adding them all together, okay? So 11 plus 4 plus 11 plus 4 is going to give me a perimeter of 30. All right, and remember your height is from base to base. So my height is 3. All right, now we're talking about total, okay? So now I have to also say, okay, well, what is the value of big B? Remember, big B is area of the base, okay? And because this is a rectangle, my area is going to be the base times the height. So the base in this case would be 11 times the height of this, which would, of just the base, because I'm taking this out, I'm only focusing on the base, 11 times 4, okay? So 11 times 4 would give me 44. Now, let's put it all together. So I have perimeter, which is 30, times my height, which is 3, right? And then I'm going to add this to 2 times my big B, or area of the base, okay? This should give you 178 inches squared. And we put squared because it is a 2D. Oops, apologize. Okay, so the bottom are 4 problems that you are going to work through by yourself and or go through with your teacher to see how you do. All right.